Welcome back, Wavesa, and today I figured that we would take a look at what we've been waiting for a long time since we saw the Vespid Stingwings, since we got their lovely models shown to us and their rules for Kill Team. I've been waiting with much anticipation to see what exactly they will be doing for us on the Warhammer 40k tabletop. So without further ado, let's get right on into it. Now, there are things that have pretty much stayed the same for the Vespids. Their toughness, their saves, their wounds. Mildly disappointed. I was kind of hoping there would be a little jump in each of those departments. Their movement is 12, which is pretty strong. Their T4 is still 4 plus save, and their wounds are still 1. Leadership is 7 plus, OC 1 apiece, which is all pretty standard. They are a bit more on the elite infantry ends of things, as they still are infantry, they have fly, and the keyword Vespid Stingwings. But I digress. Their guns are the exact same. They have the assault keyword, meaning you can advance and shoot with them, which gives you a mighty 18-inch range maximum for them getting far out, and then add another 18 inches onto that for them to actually be shooting people within the range. So that'll be about 36-inch maximum threat range. 2 attacks apiece, ballistic skill 4 plus, no surprise, strength 5, AP minus 2, 2 damage, all very threatening, which is pretty good if I do say so myself, and I do. The only issue is, they can't be guided, so you can't really improve that 4 plus ballistic skill, but that's okay. More often than not, you are going to be using these guys as your secondary objective snaggers, getting behind enemy lines, deploying teleport roamers where you need them to, etc., etc. Now, after the main weapons that every single guy will be carrying around, we've got a bit more fun here, and that is the neutron grenade launcher and the neutron rail rifle, which I'm very excited for. So the neutron grenade launcher has 18-inch range, so you'll be perfect in line with the rest of the guns in the unit, D6 attacks, but has blast, so for every 5 models in the enemy unit, you'll be getting an extra attack, which is phenomenal if you're going to be throwing these guys into big bricks of Marines, sorts of things that are going to be running around with 2 wounds and a decent armor save, because the strength 4 on the gun doesn't really matter so much because it has an anti-infantry 3 plus. This will be making it much more versatile against a wide variety of enemies, and it's AP minus 1, which is perfect. We need that AP. If you don't have the AP, it's no dice. It's not worth bringing along these days. We got to actually have some lethality to our weapons and a damage too, so it'll be very good at threatening a wide variety of troops. Marines, absolutely. These guys have been marine killers since day one. Getting to pop that special weapon in there will make them all the more lethal against it. Still hitting on 4 pluses, but what you gonna do? They're auxiliaries. We need some better rules for getting our auxiliaries in on the action, but I digress. After that, there's the neutron rail rifle. It's got devastating wounds. Surprise, surprise. No heavy because automatically it hits on 4 plus. Unlike the Pathfinders that have to stand still in order to get it to a 4 plus and then guided to a 3, these guys just hit on 4s all the time, whether you're running around or not. Strength 10, phenomenal. AP minus 4, that's great. 3 damage, amazing. Nothing to complain about whatsoever. It can be a little bit extra for anti-tank, or heck, if you're going into Terminators, it'll be able to pop one if your opponent will fail save. Also, the 30-inch range, very large threat range, so even if your guys are far off in corners, they have the 12-inch movement, and then the 30-inch range, you'll be able to at least make them feel threatening to your opponents. After that, there's the Tau Flamer. It is literally just a Tau Flamer. It auto-hits, which is cool. It gets around the mid-level of ballistic skill. It's D6 attacks, as always. It is Torrent, which means that it doesn't need to roll to hit, which is great at getting around the core ballistic skill, and it ignores cover. So it's all right. It doesn't really feel like it fits in too well with the rest of the weapons, seeing as it has no AP and only does 1 damage. But I think it would be very good in clearing out some chaff. That being said, it's either that or a neutron blaster with 2 attacks. Strength 5, AP minus 2, 2 damage. It's just, I would probably just kit mine out with the neutron blaster because that's just going to be better, unless you're really, for some reason, needing extra flamer shots in this more anti-elite geared towards squad. But I am willing to see an argument for having the flamer in there because it's a good Overwatch threat if you're looking to finish off someone with very few wounds. trying to fall away or do some secondary objectives. And simultaneously, we've lost a lot of our abilities to split fire, and having something that just auto hits, you don't need to guide the unit, it makes it very easy for a bit more of a diverse kind of play, split firing and shooting in multiple directions. Now, the Vespid Stingwing Claws are amazing if they had more than one attack apiece. I wish they gave them two, but they got two claws. Come on, give them two attacks. It hits on 4+, strength 4, which is fair. I'll take it. We're muscling around with Space Marines. AP -1, 1 damage. I'll take that as well. This is probably our second best. No, it's not our second best, but it's close. It's up there for our infantry weapons. These guys hit harder than the Kroot do. Yes, the Kroot have strength 4. They hit on 3s. Of course, they have 2 attacks apiece, but they don't have any armor penetration. And if you're looking to tear something apart, you're going to want some armor penetration on it. So these guys definitely good. They got 1 chainsword attack apiece. So if you take a squad of 10 of them, you'll get 10 attacks hitting on 4s, AP -1, 1 damage. So that's like what 5 of them will hit, and depending on what you're rolling into, you'll probably kill a thing or two. Which I like getting our Tau into melee, so I'm very appreciative of this. But the only issue is, as cool as all these guns are, you can only take the special weapons if you have 10 models in the squad. If you have less than 10 models in the squad, then you can't take the weapons. Because, man, it would be awesome if we had the Strain Leader, and then you had the Neuron Rifle, the Grenade Launcher, the Flamer, and then another normal guy with a blaster. Because it just seems like so much fun. Just a little elite special weapons squad, and you could get 3 of them in there for a much cheaper cost. But you have to take the full 10 if you want all of the special goodies and weapons, which is fair. I'm mildly disheartened, but it's fair. I was hoping maybe they would do something like you can equip, like if you have 5 guys in the unit, you could give 1 a special weapon or 2 a special weapon instead of withholding all 3 until you have 10 in the squad. I think 1 would be pretty fair if I do say so myself, but I think it gives the larger squads more value because with the 5 models you get 65 points, but they all have the Neuron Blasters, whereas with 10 models you have 130 points, which is double the 65, but you'll get 3 special weapons possibly. Let's be real though, you're probably only going to take 2. Most everybody will. But I digress. Now, after this, we're going to take a little swivel over at the special abilities that they have, and they finally fixed their uppy-downy ability. Instead of it being at the end of our turn, it's at the end of our opponent's movement phase. If they're not in engagement range with 1 or more enemy units, we can remove them from the battlefield and place them into strategic reserves, which means as soon as our turn comes on, they can immediately drop down. This gives us a lot of diversity in how we're going to play our games, how we're going to move them around, how we are going to acquire more points, or heck, even take out key enemy units. I just watched the battle report with Tau Nick playing against the Orcs, I believe the Star Wars Orcs, highly recommend. Great show. Playing on tabletop always does an amazing job. And his opponent picked up the Orcs and dropped them back in Tau Nick's home in his backfield in his home deployment zone, as Tau Nick had gone really far forward. They just switched places with the Orcs and Tau, very entertaining. And he had no way to get to them. Well, if he had some Vespid on the field, assuming they would have lived that long, well, knowing their job and role in the game, they probably would, if you're mostly using them for doing secondary objective grabbing. You could have just uppy-downied him. Just take him off at the end of his opponent's turn and be like, oh, I know exactly how I'm going to kill him. Drop him down right behind those Orcs, shoot him up a bunch, and then maybe even charge in and take him out to get rid of the extra points that his opponent would have scored. But I digress. This is phenomenal, really good ability. I'm glad we fixed it. Now for the War Gear ability, they got the Oversight Drone. As everyone has seen, there's a special little drone that is going around that helps them in the kill team. It gives them more points to move around because, the Tau need to graciously communicate to the Vespid what they should be doing most tactfully on the battlefield. We got better tech. We're helping them out. There's no mind control going on here. None whatsoever. Anyways, I digress. It says the Oversight Drone, once per battle, when the bearer's unit is selected to shoot, until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in this unit have the Ignores Cover ability. Once per battle, we get to ignore cover with these guys. I don't know about you, but this just seems really lackluster. I was kind of hoping we'd have something that corresponded with, oh, I don't know, the ghost guy that we have in the squad. Because he seems pretty cool. It's like you can blank one incoming damage, or like one failed save you got to ignore. Like every time this unit is targeted, or something like that. Because I don't know, because they're kind of weak, they're kind of frail, and the ghost tech just looks so cool. He's just such a cool model. I don't know. I was kind of hoping something interesting like that, or maybe heck, even once a game you can be guided by like a unit that has the marker light keyword. That would be infinitely better than this. Just ignores cover once, like because at least then they'd be able to shoot a little bit. I don't know. It seems meh. Yeah, thoroughly unimpressive and disappointing. But it is what it is. I'm happy we got the new models. They look great. The data sheet, I'm liking all the special weapons that we're getting. I like that we don't need to stand still and we can fly around with our rail rifle and have it shoot the exact same way. And I'm liking that we got a neutron grenade launcher because that will be good not only just against normal Marines, but against guys that have 2-up saves as well that are infantry. I'm thinking of Custodes, I'm thinking of Terminators because you'll still be wounding them on 3+s and you still have a little bit of pip of AP to make it that'll actually hurt when they fail a save because it'll be more likely that they fail a save and the 2 damage will chew them up a bit. But I digress. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and I'd like to thank my patrons. Der Estat, the new Vivek, Samjer, Ryan Hall, David Polilio, K-Mag, Jonathan Patino, Chris F., Mark, Magnus Thrody, and created by Philip. Gentlemen, thank you all very much for helping support and keep the lights on out here. I am very appreciative, and I hope your day goes for the greater good. God bless you, folks.